So anyway, with that said, my name is Jay Cameron, and I'm welcoming you to the Travel Life with Jay Cameron, Return to Ghana. And the reason why I say return to Ghana is because I have been there several times now and did not realize all of what this was going to become for me. But I will tell you as I share the story, it'll make perfect sense. All right, so here it is. It's time to get your learn on. There you go. Are you ready to learn? What are you going to learn about going and traveling to Ghana? How you can travel to Ghana this year. You're going to learn the process and what you can look forward to. And as I shared, I do have a special guest that I'm going to introduce you to today. Just a little bit about who I am. My name is Jay Cameron. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a playwright. I'm an author, financial literacy and youth advocate, community leader, philanthropist, world traveler. That's right. I can now put that in there, world traveler. And if you want to follow me on Instagram or Facebook, that's my handle right there at Jay Cameron Official. And my travels to Ghana and the continent of Africa sparked this whole interest in encouraging others to go as well. And actually have this whole initiative that's been featured in blacknews.com, Black History Before Slavery. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And I'll share a little bit more about what you see on the left-hand side when we go through the page shortly. This is something else I did here as a result of going to Ghana. It led me to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. That's right. I've been to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro, the tallest mountain in Africa. It is the tallest freestanding mountain in the world. It was an incredible experience, and all of it came as a result of going to Ghana. All right, so why Ghana? Well, since my first trip to Ghana, I have visited 5 African countries in 13 months. I've been to Ghana, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Togo, and Benin, as well as Salvador, Brazil. And all of these are African diaspora-related destinations. And so the African diaspora, those who were dispersed as a result of the transatlantic and Arab slave trades, these are destinations that are relevant to the African diaspora. And guess what? It all started with Ghana. This is someone who I'm not related to at all, but in Salvador, Brazil. And we ran into each other and we were like, wait a minute, we look like we could be related. And sure enough, we had to take this picture. And this was in Salvador, in Brazil, in the Pelourinho. So this was, when we saw each other, it was really kind of like a kinship, a brotherhood, a connection there. So I was like, I have to show everyone this picture. And that's what you see when you begin to travel around the world. You begin to see the similarities. Who knew that Salvador, Brazil was the most populous country for those of African descent outside of the continent of Africa, and meaning that that particular area, in Brazil in particular, the country of Brazil has the highest population for those of African descent. Nope, not America, but Brazil. So again, why Ghana and why I chose Ghana, why am I promoting Ghana, why am I encouraging Ghana, is because it's the perfect balance. And when I say the perfect balance, meaning that it is not so colonized that it has lost all of its African culture and heritage, but then it is not so, and when I use the word primitive, I use that word very carefully because I do not see those who live a traditional African lifestyle is in a negative way at all. But I also recognize that the audience that I'm talking to are largely Americans. And so we have been conditioned a particular way and we're used to certain things. And so it could be a culture shock if you just go from America to an authentically traditional African life. So what I wanted to do was to find something that was right in the middle where you would have enough familiar accommodations and amenities while still having the authentic African experience. And that is what Ghana is. Falls right in the middle. It has the perfect balance. Also the history. There's history that you will find in Ghana that you will not find in other places in Africa. Now, there are other places in Africa that does not have the history that Ghana has, but in particular, when you're introducing yourself to the continent of Africa with its 54 countries, Ghana has something very special as far as history and as it pertains to the African diaspora, the culture, the tropical weather, the cuisine, the shopping, the business opportunities. And I'm going to walk you through some of that as we begin to navigate this. And then also, what is the number one mistake that people make when it comes to traveling internationally, but in particular when it comes to Ghana? So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Here are, this is another reason why I went to Ghana. and West Africa. I did my ancestry. A lot of people are very popular right now. And so you see two popular ancestry results right here. I have African ancestry on the left, and then I have 23andMe. I've done all of them. I've done ancestry, I've done my heritage, I've done 23andMe and African ancestry. And so this is my genetic makeup right here. I am, as it has here, 24.5% European, 74.6% sub-Saharan African. Then you have the East Asian Native American at 0.8%, and then 2.2% unassigned. And then when I did my African ancestry, and African ancestry has a very unique and way of kind of leading you to your tribe. That's what I was really looking for, because there were no countries until actually rather recently where the borders were established. But the Temini people living in Sierra Leone on one branch of my ancestry, that's what I was able to discover through African ancestry. So I'm going to be visiting Sierra Leone soon in order to connect with my folks. That's how I see it, connect with my folks. So anyway, a lot of people have taken these tests and they're trying to connect some of the dots in their ancestry. And that's one reason why Ghana was important. As a matter of fact, in Ancestry.com, their DNA shows that I have 17% Ghanaian, Sierra Leonean, and Liberian ancestry. So that's my connection to Ghana. Now, it was something interesting that happened. The reason why Ghana even came up is because I knew I needed to get to the continent. This was the beginning of 2018. I needed to get to the continent and I didn't know where to go. I saw a lot of people kind of talking about Ghana, wasn't really familiar with it. So I decided to use Google Earth to look over and see what might be in Ghana. So this is what I saw that night when I scanned over. I looked down and I said, wait a minute, they have swimming pools in Ghana and with like clean water in the swimming pools? I can't believe this. And then that's a shot of Accra Mall. I said, they have malls and highways. I said, what's going on here? There's something that they're not telling me. So that night I decided that I was going to go to Ghana, one, because of the slave dungeons, as well as because of what I saw that I was familiar with from Google Earth. I see the palm trees and the coconut trees. I'm seeing this tropical scenery. So it just kind of piqued my curiosity. And I said, I need to go to Ghana and see what's going on. Little did I realize how my life was going to change from that night and making the decision that night. I did not know my life was going to change the way that it did. I was not thinking about Mount Kilimanjaro. I was not thinking about going to Ethiopia, Tanzania, Benin, Togo, or Salvador, Brazil. But because of the decision I made, my life changed. All right, here we go. There we go. We know that classic. We know the classic right there. So many people are met with fears when it comes to Africa. Oh man, I can't go to Africa. They're going to get me. This is what's going to happen to me. The warlords are going to get me. I'm going to get all kinds of diseases when I go to Africa. People getting shot, dying in the streets in Africa. I cannot. Oh man, Africa. Why in the world would I want to go to Africa? So let's talk about that a little bit. First of all, Africa is a continent. It is not one big country. Africa is a continent with 54 countries, thousands of different cultures, hundreds of different languages, different complexions. It's actually a massive, it's a massive continent, and you can actually fit a lot of countries, like the US can fit inside of Africa. China can fit inside of Africa. So when you start thinking about it and you have all of these different cultures, why do we think of Africa as being one place? And that's the way that it's been branded in much of the Western media and Western culture. And when I talk about Western media and Western culture, that could even be European culture. So understanding that for many of us, not everybody, because some people who are listening to this right now, very knowledgeable about Africa. We know the challenges that it has, but then we also know the other side of it that's not broadcast the way that it needs to be broadcast. So, but for the person who is totally oblivious, you've watched the late night infomercials, all you know is just sickness and poverty and people, dying. There's another narrative that is not promoted. We have those same issues in America. We have those same issues in European countries where you have people dying in poverty and unclean water, Flint, Michigan, for example. So when you begin to get the complete story, it starts to shape, it begins to create a new way of seeing the continent. And that's what my mission is and my goal is. Now, the other concern is getting all of these vaccinations. I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and they were saying, oh, I got to get all these vaccinations, and I can't go to Africa because all of these vaccinations. And the truth of the matter is, as of today, all that is required to go to Ghana is the yellow fever vaccination with malaria pills highly recommended. So one vaccination and malaria pills highly recommended. The thing that I often tell everybody is that when you go to get vaccinations, their job is to make money. So they're going to upsell you on getting this or getting that. And they're going to use fear tactics in order to get you to get more vaccinations than maybe you might not need. It's up to you. I mean, some people decide to get them, some people don't. But as far as what a requirement is, there's one requirement. The other, and that's the yellow fever vaccination. The other concern is the fear of the unknown. So not knowing what you're going and getting yourself into. That's something that a lot of people are concerned about as well. It's like, I don't know what I'm getting myself into. Am I going into the jungle? Am I going to be sleeping in the jungle with people? Am I going to be out in the streets? You know, where am I going? What is everybody, am I going to be walking around with, sandals on? It's a lot of those types of things, that mental hurdles that people have to deal with as it pertains to concerns and dealing with Africa. Negative images, I've already talked about that. Diseases are everywhere. That's just the reality. If you think about it, America is one of the most vaccinated places in the world. We have all these vaccinations, so we don't think about it because we get it when we're children. But when you look at the overall scheme of the world, there are diseases everywhere, and so anybody can get sick at any point in time, anywhere in the world. And so America does not have like this hold on health and all of that. So I just want to really be clear about that. The other concern is that many people have not had someone they trust to lead them to the continent of Africa. So with that in mind, they don't go because, well, who do I trust? Am I going to run into a scam? Is somebody going to take advantage of me? How is this going to work? I heard this was happening. I heard that there was corruption. I heard that there were these people over there that were doing this, that, and the other. And just like diseases, corruption is everywhere. That there's corruption in America. So you just don't, well, you do see it, but I mean, there's corruption everywhere. So if you're thinking about it from that perspective, and when you look at it from a broader perspective, to understand we're not in some places unique in America because we have the same challenges any other place have. It's just hidden a little bit better, I should say, or it's hidden from us. But the point is, I had to go through all of these hurdles in order for me to make the decision to go. And for 45 years, I had avoided going because I was afraid. And it was really the fear of the unknown. It was the images. There was nothing positive that I ever saw coming out of the continent of Africa. So understand, so the entire continent with all the countries were lumped together as one. And it was always this negativity. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to stop letting other people shape how I think. And I'm going to go see for myself. And that's what happened. I went to go see for myself, and my life changed forever because I got people out of my head. I went, I saw, and now I'm leading the charge to help other people get there also. In Africa, a lot of people are worried about, safety. In Ghana, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Benin, and Togo were some of the nicest people I've ever met. I've not had any problems. They were very nice, very accommodating. And I really was embarrassed because I was afraid that these people weren't going to like me, but they treated me with respect because I treated them with respect. The other part of this is the Maximum Impact team. Part of the team is from Ghana. So they're on the ground. They live in Ghana. We are in communication all of the time. So that is another part of it. So when it comes to safety, I've been on these tours myself several times. And again, have seen how the entire, the flow of everything and the places that we're going to, it is not what they sell us here in America. Here's another component. My team on the ground in Ghana, they know the culture, they know where to go. And then our accommodations, we have nice accommodations. Sometimes people are like, okay, are we going to be staying outside in huts? And are we going to be staying somewhere where it's just, I can't, there's no running water? You will be pleasantly surprised at the accommodation. So we primarily stay at the Golden Tulip brands. We also have other brands that we work with in the event the Golden Tulip is not available. We have Golden Bean, we have Labadee Hotel. And so these are just other brands. And for those, if somebody's looking to book a really, really upscale trip, then you have the Movenpick Hotel and the Kempinski Hotel. These are international brands. Then you can look them up and see. So as I'm talking to you about the different hotels, you can see what's available and what's out there in Ghana. All right, now what I want to do, I'm going to switch over to a page. It's called bit.ly Gateway to Africa, and I'm going to walk you through the through this page so that you can actually see what we're going to be doing in Africa, in Ghana, and why you want to be a part of it. All right, let's see here. Here we are. And this is the page. So when you go to bit.ly Gateway to Africa, and what I want to encourage you to do is to scroll through this page and actually see what all is there. So when you first get to the page, this is what it's telling you. This is a travel movement for the African diaspora. So right now we're focusing on Africa. We're going to add South America to the mix. We're going to add the Caribbean and Central America because the African diaspora is all over the world. But right now our focus is Africa. So this video, when you go to the page, I want you to watch this video because it shows you, it's called the Ghana Chronicles, and it shows you the first video that I produced after my first trip to Ghana. Then I did the update, which combines a couple of other trips in there. And then you have Mount Kilimanjaro, just a little bit of Mount Kilimanjaro. And you see the actual tours that we took back to Ghana. So after I went, I was moved, I was inspired, and we had people go back, and you'll be able to get a chance to see by watching that video. So here's some questions. Who is this trip for? Anyone looking to expand their perspectives about different cultures? Those who want to visit the continent of Africa? Anyone interested in learning about the history prior to slavery firsthand? Anyone who enjoys collecting authentic African art? And yes, you will have an opportunity to watch them make the art. Right there, you can see them making it. Anyone who enjoys different cultures and cuisines. Anyone who enjoys meeting new people. Anyone wanting to learn about their DNA roots in Ghana, Benin, or Togo, or any other destinations. And what you'll discover is that much of West Africa, there were no countries back during the time of the transatlantic slave trade. There were kingdoms. And so what ended up happening is that much of, we say Ghana, but there was no Ghana, meaning the borders weren't established, but there was the Ashanti kingdom. And so you had you had the Yoruba, you had the Fulani. So you had a lot of different tribes and kingdoms in West Africa. So anyone wanting to learn about that, these trips are geared and catered towards you, those who want an experience of a lifetime. And I've talked about the why Africa and the popularity of the DNA test. Now, what I want you to do when you go to this page, I want you to go and watch this video right here where you can see what other people have already said. It says real smiles, real testimonials. Here's some of the pictures from our trip. And this is what you will be doing. That's right. You will have the opportunity to do the same things. If you look right there and you see the gentlemen, they were at the Ashanti village and they were doing the naming ceremony. So you'll have an opportunity to do that if you so desire. Then you see right here, some of the articles. The year of return was huge for Ghana because a lot of people, so many people were willing to get outside of the American bubble and go see for themselves and stop allowing the media and what somebody said keep them from seeing. It's kind of like, yeah, okay, I heard what somebody said, but you know what, let me go see for myself. And that's what I've discovered has helped me on so many different levels. Again, 30 stunning reasons to visit Africa in 2020. And again, you can read through all of this. There's a shot of us there, right there in Ghana. And here's some extensions and some add-ons that we have. That's the Benin and Togo. Those are two countries right next to Ghana, and there's a lot of history there. A lot of people are seeing Benin and Togo show up in their ancestry. And there's another video that you can watch and just kind of see exactly what we did while we were there. And there's something else that, these are more pictures from Benin and Togo. And you see it's called the Stilt Village, where they actually live like on the water. And so that was something to see. And they have a restaurant, they have schools, they have everything, and their houses are built like on the water. It was really something to see. Then we also have the Dubai layover experience for those who are traveling. There's a Emirates Airlines offers a layover And so this is something for those who are interested in kind of catching Dubai while you're going to Ghana. You can do that. And this is something that we added to our tour. So I think that's really cool for anybody who's, I did it. I've done it. So I already know. You'll see that in the video. That first video, you watch it, you'll see some of what I did on that tour, that Dubai layover. Here's some pictures. I went to Dubai Mall. I went to the top of the Burj Khalifa and had a chance to look out and see everything that was going on there in Dubai. And so I enjoyed that. So again, just a little bit about me. This is this is where I've been featured and some of the different things that I've done. You can read more about that as you scroll through. Here's a shot of me there at Kilimanjaro right there on the right. That's right, I'm above the clouds. And all of this comes from going to Ghana. This, the middle picture right there is where you see that that was my naming ceremony. And so I got my name Kojo Twimbarema. That's my name, Kojo Twimbarema, from the Ashanti tribe. That me there with the python on my neck, that was in Benin. Right on the bottom left, that's me jumping with the Maasai in Tanzania, and another Maasai gentleman there in Tanzania, and then me at the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. Here's some other pictures from our trip to Ghana in Benin and Togo. As you see, this is what we're doing. Everyone had a great time there at the beach. You got the horseback riding. You just have an opportunity to do something different. That's what I tell people all the time, do something different. Here's some of our testimonials and what people had to say. So you can read through that as you're going through the page. You can see what other folks have had to say about the trip. Also here, these are some of the dates that we have for 2020, and you can look and see which one is of interest to you. And I'll talk about this a little bit more, and it'll give you some of the breakdowns on the pricing and all of that. Here's the itinerary. So if you're looking to go to Ghana with us, the first day you arrive, a lot of people are coming from different places. We had people coming from San Diego, from Las Vegas, from Phoenix on our trips last year. And so day one, we give everybody an opportunity to arrive and making sure that you rest for a little while and relax, because sometimes the jet lag can be pretty intense. So you don't want to come right in and just jump into activities. But breakfast and Wi-Fi are included at all of the locations. And this just gives you just a sneak peek inside of the rooms and some of the accommodations. That's the pool there, that's the hotel, that's the room. So you see for yourself what it's looking like. Day one in the evening, if you want to go out and hang out a little bit, there's some different locations that you can catch right there in the Accra area. So day two gets the tour started, and you get a chance to see all of the activities and what we're going to be doing right there. Again, all of this is on the page, and that's why I want you to take the time to kind of scroll through it and really read and understand the amount of time that we've taken to make sure that you're clear about what you're going to be doing, what you can expect. We coach you through the process. We walk you through it, so you're not just showing up and trying to figure it out. We make sure that you are prepared for your experience in Ghana. We want you to have a positive experience in Ghana, and we want you to be able to be proud of it and tell your family and friends about it. And perhaps one day they will want to come. So day three, we travel to Kumasi, Ghana, and that's another popular area in Ghana. And that's about a 4 or 5 hour drive from Accra. And then you get a chance to go to the Ashanti Palace and learn a lot of history there. And then on day four, you go to the naming ceremony. You get to see the kente weaving. You get to go on the cocoa tour and learn about the many ways the cocoa pod is used in everything from cocoa butter to chocolate to black soap. You get a chance to see all of that. And then you go to the Adinkra stamps and printing. You get a chance to see right there. You get to make some of your own souvenirs. It's really, really fascinating. It is a wonderful culture tour and something that is just creates memories for a lifetime. Day five, you get to go to Cape Coast, and that's the Coconut Grove Hotel right there on the beach, and you can see the beautiful scenery, and so you have a chance to be a part of that. Then we go to Slave River, and this is when the tour really begins to get deeper, and you begin to learn about the history of the slave trade before slavery actually started, or before they arrived in America, I should say. And Slave River has a lot of history that is relevant to that. That is very, very powerful. And then we go to Cape Coast Slave Dungeon. This is one of the highlights of the tour, going to the dungeons where many of our ancestors were held before they were shipped across the Atlantic to Brazil, to Haiti, and for many arriving in America as well. and other destinations in South America and Central America. So you see some of those pictures. And again, more testimonials you can see, and I encourage you again to read through. Then we go to the Cocoon Canopy Park, and this is voluntary, of course, but for those who want a little bit of adventure, a little bit of spice in the tour, then you can walk across the 7 swinging canopy bridges. And I've done it twice, enjoyed it. There is a hike up to it, but again, it's just a part of the experience. And then for those who are interested in going to Elmina Slave Dungeon, that is optional if you want to go there as well. But we do afford you the opportunity to visit both Cape Coast and Elmina Slave Dungeon. And then I'll say day 7, you return to Accra, and you'll have the opportunity to do more shopping. Or if you just want to relax, you can do that. And then that's typically when we will go to the, also you go to the Aburi Botanical Gardens. And that's where you get a chance to see the different trees and plants that are there in West Africa. And then on day 8, you return home. That's right. You return home. A lot of folks are like sad because they don't want to return home, but it's day 8 is that day where you're like, wow, it's over. Like, wow, but it's an experience of a lifetime. Now, what I want you to do is take a look at these testimonial videos that I'm showing you here on the page, because some people will ask, all right, is the trip appropriate for children? Well, Brandy and Monica brought their son Marcus, who's 11 years old, on the trip. So you'll have an opportunity to hear their testimonial and their story. Sharon, she shares everything that she saw and how it impacted her. You want to watch these stories. And then Dottie, what Dottie did was she talked about how she had to overcome the fear of the long flight. The long flight, that's right. And as she overcame the fear of the long flight, she did it. And guess what? She's going back again this year. That's right. She's going back again because she overcame the fear. And then as Gina shares her powerful story and everything that she saw and how it touched her, it was just a fascinating account of how she just recalled everything that she saw and why others should visit Ghana as well. So anyway, with all of that said, you can scroll through the page and you can even scroll down, and there's some frequently asked questions that come up. You can get all the details about Benin and Togo, the Dubai layover, and then some of the frequently asked questions. Do you need travel insurance? Yes, we recommend travel insurance, especially when you're traveling abroad. We talk about the whole passport process, and it's really very easy. You can go to your post office and begin the passport process. It's not difficult at all. And then, of course, the visa requirements. Ghana does require a visa, but that's not a difficult process either. But I will say this. If it's your first time, it can seem a little challenging because you're having to fill out an application and all these different things. But if you are determined to go and you're like, listen, I'm going to Ghana, then all of this is just a part of it. Once it's done, it becomes easy. And then you move on from there. We'll walk you through that process as well. And if you are looking to, if you need someone to help you, just if you're trying to streamline it, PassportHealthUSA.com is a recommended provider if you're looking for someone to help you just kind of get the visa, get the passport, and all of that. It does come with a fee, so just to make you aware of that. But if you're trying to streamline it for yourself, PassportHealthUSA.com is a recommended provider. I've used them myself, and so they got the job done, and I had a great time. For those who are looking to purchase your own airfare, use points. I encourage you to use points. That's something that that I'm going back to. I'm going to Sierra Leone, and I'm going back on points. So that's something that I encourage. Can children travel? Absolutely. Just make sure that you look at what all of the requirements are for children to travel out of the country. Can you use American currency in the countries featured on the tours? Some places will, but you have the opportunity to do currency exchange. We train you on currency exchange. We walk you through that. How much spending money should you bring? We suggest no less than $300 US. You can get by with $300 US. And we'll talk about tipping, what you should wear. Is the water safe to drink? We cover all of that, and just to make sure that you're comfortable, and you can read all of this on the page as well. But I want to introduce you to someone who went on this trip, and we're going to actually come live here onto the screen. You come on in. So we're going to come live onto the screen, and this young lady, she gave me the blues, y'all. She gave me the blues. When you meet her, she gave me the blues. Let me switch back over here to the slides. She gave me the blues. And when I say she gave me the blues, when I decided I was going to travel to Africa for the first time, she told me, I asked her, I said, would you like to go? And let me see, let me pull a camera up here real quick. All right. So so I asked her, I said, would you like to go? She said, well, no. You said no. And if you go and come back with no diseases, I might consider going to Africa.
Right.
So that was how it all began. But let me show you here, because you all can see the slide still. She didn't want to go to Africa. I had a negative perception. And I'm amazed that I could actually get her to sit beside me this morning. This is really, really cool to have her here. So here she is. This is Latricia. Here she is. She's on her way at that point to Africa. I don't know what I did to get her to go, but something happened. I'll tell you what I did. And ultimately, it was her decision. But here she is in Ghana. And I'm going to tell you, I went to Ghana, came back with no diseases, no problems. And then I went back and I climbed Kilimanjaro and went to Ethiopia and went all of these different places. And she said, wait a minute, something's going on over there. I see that you're really having the time of your life. And so when I got back from Kilimanjaro, she said, okay, you know what? I think I'm ready to go. Let's do it. And I'll let her tell her story, but I just want you to see some of the pictures here. There's
the naming ceremony.
Yeah, it's the naming ceremony. So this is, yeah.
And I need you to address me as Adwa.
Adwa. Okay, I'm gonna switch over Adwa. So Adwa is here.
So while we're doing this, I need you to address my Asante tribe.
Adwa is her name.
That's my name.
So here's this is Adwa at the slave dungeon, and so she was really overwhelmed. And again, I'll let you talk about that. And then here you are in the dungeon. This was Cape Coast, and then that's you at the Canopy Park. So all of this from someone who said they would never go to Africa, someone who said no.
Get me with the babies?
You know what? I'll pull that one back up. I'll get you with the babies. And then this was what was really huge right here. Adwa found herself barefoot in barefoot at Slave River. And this was the person who said, I have no interest in Africa. You go, and if you come back alive with no diseases, then that'll be all right. That'll be all right. So, all right. So what I want to do now, I'm going to bring in Latricia. There we go. All right, Latricia.
Hello.
Hey. All right. So Trish, I want you to just share a little bit about, I guess, your experience and why you decided to travel to Ghana. And by the way, Latricia's my wife. All right.
Well, I don't know. I can't pinpoint one particular thing that said, okay, this is why I need to go. But I think the biggest thing for me was fear. As Jay mentioned earlier, the dynamic and all the different things that we see here in America about the continent is for the majority negative. And you don't know what you're getting yourself into. You just see these pictures on television that talk about the starving children and the people not having any food and all these different things. And I never just had the desire to go. As a matter of fact, I did not have a desire to travel outside this country at all. Of course, you take a cruise here and there, but that's different. But to travel and to go to a different continent and to see a different group of people that speak a different language and their customs and all the different things, it just wasn't anything that ever crossed my mind or that I aspired to. But like he said, he went. I told him in my ignorance, I said, when you get back, you and your stuff in the garage, we're going to spray you down with Lysol. You're not coming back in this house. I don't know. We're going to shake out everything out your suitcase. It's out of control and all of it was because of fear, because I did not know what to expect and what, went on there. But when I went, I can honestly say that I am glad that I went. It was a wonderful experience to just see a different culture of people, to see how hard they work, to experience their culture, their food, do some shopping, you know, ladies, do some shopping. But it was really, really a nice trip. It was a good experience, and it was a trip of a lifetime. I'm 50 years old. Like I said, I never aspired to go outside of the United States, but I'm glad that I did, because it was not only just a nice trip, it was an educational experience as well.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about when you finally came to the decision to go.
Yes.
When did you finally say, okay, I think I'm ready to take this trip?
I don't really remember.
Mm-hmm.
I just know that you just kept talking about it and kept talking about it. And Trish, you need to go. You need to go. It was borderline harassment, actually. But I think what happened is because you had such a positive experience and such a good time, you wanted to share that, mm-hmm. and as evidence of you taking the other groups back. And so I said, you know, I want to experience this too. I know he would not take me somewhere or share or put me in a position that I would be in danger or any of these different things. So I said, you know, let me just go and experience it for myself, and just see what it. And the biggest thing, as I mentioned, was fear. Mm. It was fear of the unknown, not knowing what to expect. I've seen your videos and some of the interviews that you've had with some people that went, and there were some people that said, oh, as soon as my foot touched the ground, I knew I was home. That wasn't my experience. I got there and I was looking around. I'm trying to figure out, okay, the boogeyman, the African boogeyman gonna get me.
The African booty scratcher. That's how they talk. Y'all know what y'all know.
The African boogeyman gonna get
me. Yeah, y'all know that goes. Yeah.
But it's all ignorance. It was just flat out ignorance. I did not know what to expect. When we got off the plane and we walked through the airport and we went outside, there was, to my left, there was a huge group of people just sitting in chairs, and I was just fixated on them. I was like, well, why are they here? What are they doing? They just hang out at the airport? What is going on? You know, just get me to the car. And I was just looking around, just trying to get my bearings, trying to get a feel for the place. But I will say, as Jay already mentioned, everybody was nice. This is what kept throwing me off. Okay. When I would go, and I would say, for instance, we would go to breakfast, and I would walk in and they would say, you're welcome. And in my mind, I was like, well, I didn't say thank you. What? And then it clicked. They are saying you are welcome, like you are welcomed here. Okay. And it threw me off every time it happened, but it was such a nice feeling to feel that they welcomed you and they were excited and happy to be there. I think one of the things that I really tried to do, because in my mind, I knew and I understood that I was representing us as African Americans in this country. I just wanted to make sure that I respected them. I respected their culture. I thanked them. I tried to be humble and making sure that I appreciated everything that they were doing, everything that they were doing for us. And I didn't want to go over there and leave the impression that we're, you know, here in America as Black Americans, depending on whatever they've ever seen or heard about us, I did not want to go over there and leave a bad taste in their mouth as far as Black Americans were concerned. So that was really in the forefront of my mind as well. You don't want to go over there and cut up and act a fool.
Yeah. Well, you know,
in Africa.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm glad that you said that, because that was a very mature way to approach being in Africa, in Ghana in particular, because a lot of times people don't think like that. They're going, and that's one of the reasons, that's why we train folks and prepare them to say, hey, listen, you're going to a different culture, you're going to, and we are ambassadors because they're negative stereotypes that are portrayed about us as being uppity and arrogant and all these other things. And
I've heard that that Africans don't like us as African Americans. They don't like us. Different things like that. So I because of the fear, did not know what to expect, but I did not encounter any of that at all. Mm-mm. I did not encounter that at all.
Now I've encountered some of that in America.
Right.
So see, that sometimes that negative, I've run into some folks from Africa in America that made me say, I don't want to ever go to Africa.
Right.
But they were from one particular country in Africa that's not Ghana, and it's not Ethiopia, it's not Tanzania, it's not Benin or Togo. And so they gave that country And because we lump all of Africa together, we're thinking, okay, these Africans don't like us. No, it was that one country in Africa. It was like one country out of 54 that I had that negative experience with. And it was repetitive. So that's one country I'm not like looking to go to, but it didn't rule out the continent. And so because of that, and that's where I had to grow up too, to say, well, and you know what, I'm gonna go to that country to see if it's really like that in that country too. Because sometimes folks just, folks are just folks. And a lot of times it's just class. People in America treat each other differently based on socioeconomic class. Those who think they have a little money look down on those who don't. So getting past that, and I think the beautiful part about it is that you were able to get past the fears.
Yes.
And have that experience.
Yes.
And so now you're going to other parts of the continent now.
Yes. Well, as Jay mentioned about your ancestry, I did African ancestry, and I discovered that my mother's mother's line, going back hundreds and hundreds of years, were from Cameroon, and specifically the is it Fulani?
Yeah, you had Fulani, you had Tikar, you had a few
right.
Bubi tribe,
The
and
Bubi tribe, and so I just have a desire to go to Cameroon, and so I'm trying to work that out right now.
I'm gonna get you there though. I'm gonna get you to Cameroon. I'm gonna get you to Cameroon.
Thank you. But I have a desire to go there just to meet the people there, learn about the culture, learn about the tribe, and go see my cousins.
That's right. That's right. But that's it.
So because that's where I'm from. That's where my mother's side is from. And I recently had the opportunity to get my dad's brother's DNA, so that we're going to go back to so the ones that in Cameroon are my mother's line. So I did my uncle's DNA so I could trace back my father's mother's line. So I'm excited about that, to see where her bloodline is from. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
And this is from the person who said it was having me leave my luggage, fumigate my luggage out in the garage.
You're gonna shake everything out, spray it down with Lysol, and then you can come in and then spray you down with Lysol.
Spray me down with Lysol. So you know what life was like for me a few days after I got back. Everything was shut down after that. So like, no, let's just make sure you all right. Make sure you're bringing nothing back over here. So you understand what I'm talking about.
Right.
You feel my pain and what I was dealing with. However, but it meant so much to have Trish go on the trip and to have her own experience. That Adwa went on the trip.
Adwa is female born on Monday.
Female born on Mondays.
That is from the Asante tribe.
That's right.
And this is another thing I wanted to mention. I thought that was so cool when I learned this particular group of people, how they name their children. And I think it came full circle to me because we had the opportunity to go to the Whitney plantation.
Right. That's right.
That's another story. But
in Louisiana,
I'll get there in a second. But to learn that these people, when their babies are born, they're immediately given a name. As Jay mentioned, his name, his name is Kojo, male born on Monday. I am Adwa, female born on Monday. And then after 5 or 7 days, the father then gives that child another name. And so these names have meaning. But this is how it came full circle for me, because when we went down to the Whitney plantation and we learned about the enslaved that were brought there.
In Louisiana.
In Louisiana. This is right outside of New Orleans.
New Orleans, yes.
They were given new names. They were stripped of their identity, stripped of their culture, everything that they knew, even their names. And then they were given a name like Sue.
Or Hector.
Or John.
Or Philippe.
Or Peter.
I saw all this Philippe. I was like, that brother's name is not Philippe.
It's not, and it's not Peter.
No.
Either. So it kind of angered me, because what is a Sue? What does that mean to someone of African descent versus someone named Adwa, that you can say that means that I was a female born on Monday. And you can tell, even when we were talking to some of them and I was asking them their names, they had such pride in their name. Kofi.
Oh, yeah.
Our tour guide was named Kofi. I can't remember what day. Is that Saturday or Friday? Friday. It might be Saturday.
Okay.
But it was just fascinating to learn that and to know that and to now have my own
Adwa.
Adwa.
But one of the things I did was when I would meet people, they would give me their, because there's this custom where they have to get an English name also.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself,
That's
this is crazy. So they would tell me, yes, my name is some English name. I said, no, I want your name. What's your name?
Right.
And then they would tell me, and it was like they were so excited to tell me their real name and
Right.
and not this colonized name that they were somehow forced to give. And so that's what I'm saying. It does something. It really helps you broaden your perspectives. And I think that's what you see Trish saying here is about how her perspectives have changed about the continent. And that's what we want to share with people. That's the biggest thing, sharing these experiences, because growing up in America, I know what we've been taught. I know what we haven't been taught. I know how I wasted 45 years of my life afraid of someplace I had no reason to be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to other people who maybe they had a different kind of experience, or you talk to somebody who's over there and they're upset with their government. I mean, if we just listen to what people say, they won't want to ever visit America because of depending on what your political leanings are. So that's why I say it's important to go see for yourself and formulate your own opinion. So do you have anything else you want to share with everybody?
Oh, wow. It was just such a good time. We had such a good trip. The weather, it was hot, but it was good. Just being able to, nice restaurants, the hotels were nice. I was angry because the narrative that they teach us here in this country about the continent of Africa, what I experienced and what I saw in Ghana, it just wasn't anything like that. Now they have their more rural parts, and it was good to see that part too.
Oh yeah.
It was, and like Jay mentioned, yes, when we went to Slave River, I took my shoes off. I walked the path that our ancestors walked to have their last bath, and it was emotional at the slave dungeons, just to see because we hear a lot about, they was on ships and they brought them here on ships, but we were able to learn and understand what happened to them before they got on the ship.
Yes.
And what they went through, the process and the torture and all of the different things that they went through before they even got on the ship for months and months to come to this land. And as Jay mentioned, a lot of them in South America. But one thing that I definitely walked away with, and that I now carry with me as a sense of pride, and that is to learn what our ancestors, I don't want to say they're our ancestors, what they went through before they even got on the ship. And I don't want to tell everything, because I want, for those that are going to go on the trip, I want you to be able to be surprised and experience and see some of these things for yourself. But the journey that they took before they got on the ship says to me that the ones that made it here and the ones that I am a direct descendant of were the strongest of the strongest of the strongest of the strong, to be able to make it through some of the most mind-blowing conditions. You cannot even imagine what they went through, and for them to make it through that, to get on the ship, to get to the ships, to get here, and for us to be here because of them. We are the strongest of the strong, and I will never forget that as long as I live. And we are descendants of that, and everyone here in the African diaspora here are descendants of that. And don't ever let anyone ever tell you that you are a descendant of a slave.
That's right.
They were enslaved. They were not brought here as immigrants. They were brought here against their will, and because of them and their strength, that we are the descendants of that. And that is just so amazing to me, and wonderful, that to know that I am a descendant of the strongest of the strong. And also, even though that their blood, sweat, and tears, and most of them gave their lives, that is a testament to how strong we are. And if you're ever in a place where you don't feel like, I can't make it, or I can't do it, or I'm not going to survive, you just think about what they did to get here and the reason why you're actually here. And
as you say that, it's almost like you can it's like when you learn about what they really went through, it's and they don't teach it here. I'm telling you, they're not going to teach it. It's not something you can read in a book. It's something like when you go, you say, wait a minute, this is what was going on, and this is how they were playing it. This is what they were doing. That's why I'm on the mission to take people, because it's not an intellectual thing. It's like all of your senses get involved with it, and you're like, oh, okay, okay,
all of your senses,
and you're like, y'all been playing games over here in this country. You've been telling me, y'all been selling me some stuff, and this is not the story. And that's why it's so important to go. It's deeper than it's deeper.
And not only that, we don't want our children to grow up and feel like they are the descendants of slaves.
Right.
There was so much more that was happening over on that continent before the colonizers came in and enslaved us.
That's right.
They were kings, they were queens, they had their own customs and kingdoms and way that they did things, and they survived. It's just, you have to go, because you have to be able to learn these things to come back and teach our children.
That's right.
That they are not descendants of slaves. Before we were brought here, that there was so much more that was going on the continent before they came and invaded and stripped us and kidnapped us. And took us away from our culture and our history and our heritage.
Right, and to actually have us like looking negatively. It's like we're thinking, oh no, I'm not that. I'm not African. I'm American. It's like, well, what is American?
And for us to be made to feel inferior, knowing that we were brilliant people, that the ingenuity and all of the different things that. It's just amazing. It is simply amazing.
And that's why I call it the gateway experience, because what it does, it now unlocks the rest of the continent. That's what happened for me. I went to Ghana. I wasn't thinking about Mount Kilimanjaro. That wasn't on my mind. But I said, you know what? And I talk about it in some of my talks, how it was symbolic of me just saying, I'm going to kick down the door. I'm kicking down the door of no return. I'm back. And I'm climbing to the tallest point in Africa, because I'm not supposed to be here. And hopefully it will serve as an inspiration for others to want to learn. Every other culture goes back, no matter where they come from, they'll want to go back. If they come from Central America, they'll want to know, or, hey, I'm from Guatemala, or those who are of majority European descent. I had to say that because I got some of that going on too. But it's like those who, I'm from Germany, or I'm from Great Britain, or from France. They take pride in that. But for those of us who are part of the African diaspora, those who have controlled the narrative have basically said, listen, you should not have any pride in that. That's a place you don't want to go. That's a place of negativity. But the interesting thing is that when I got there, and the different places I've been, everybody from Europe was there. Everybody from Asia was there. And I'm saying, well, all of y'all are here making all this money, still doing the same thing, but yet I'm held up hostage in America, making everybody else all of this money. And so it just gets really interesting as you begin to broaden your perspectives. And that's why I call it a movement for the diaspora, because when you begin to awaken and really understand who you are, it gives you a confidence in some of the stuff that we've been doing generationally and still holding us in place. You get that off of your back. The stuff that has come off of my back, the stuff that I've been carrying for most of my life is gone because of me going and understanding the truth. And so that's why I'm so glad to have Trish go along and all of the people that went on the trip. That's why I want you to go to the page and actually listen to what they had to say with their words. As you hear them say it, they're telling you there's something over there they don't want us to know. And so it's like, just, and the thing I tell people all the time, they're worried about, well, how are we going to do with the finances? And Mr. Doctor, he was on the last trip with us, and he talked about how he's a retiree, and he said it's really not as bad as what you're thinking. It's just a matter of prioritizing it and doing it and going and saying, you know what, I'm going, and this is how it's going to be. When you listen to Dottie, and she talks about it, I'm going, and this is how it's going to be. So anyway.
And one more thing.
Yeah, you got it.
Go so you can come back and educate. I cannot tell you the variety of responses that I received when I told folks that I was going to Africa. I mean, people like, why? What you want to go there? I mean, even folks in my family were like, oh, you're gonna go over there and you're gonna come back and all of it. And it's like, no, you go over there so you educate yourself, so when you come back, you educate others and let them know it's not what you think it is. Go, experience, learn, and embrace, something that someone has been trying to keep from us for a long, long time. And then, ladies, Y'all see my little top? Ain't it cute? I got this in Ghana. Ain't it cute?
Yeah, she got the whole thing going on.
It's
She
cute.
she
Isn't
got
it cute?
and now the bank account getting drained because of all the
Right.
fashions, all the
Well, I done
African
come
fashions.
back and I done went on websites. I'm getting African prints and all that. My son brought this back. My oldest son, bless his heart, brought me this back for his mama. My little necklace.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. It's great.
Well, I want to thank you for joining me. I'm going to wrap this up so everybody can kind of see, and if you have any questions or anything, you can send it to us. I hope you join us, whether it's 2020 or sometime in the future. At least start thinking about it, and you at least have an idea of what to expect. So thank you, Trish.
You're welcome.
All right.
Oh, wait a minute, Madasi.
Madasi. All right. So here we are. We are back on the slide, and I want to show you that's Trish again, and we're going to give you some more information as it pertains to as she exits. She's departing from us right now. So I want you to take a look at this slide, and then we're going to move on and answer any questions once again. Here we go. Number one mistake that people make, they don't leave America in America, and that's what Trish was talking about. A lot of times we go to these countries, and we are taking our American philosophies, our American standards, our American mentality, and it really does us a disservice because we're going there. And I tell people all the time, if you're going to a different country looking for America, then you might as well not even visit the country, because you're going to a different country to be able to see their culture and what they have to offer. Also, it's a different culture. It's a slower pace. So we're a microwave culture. They are a cook to order culture. So that's something that you just prepare for. The traffic. So their traffic is real, just like we deal with traffic here. Their traffic is on another level. But that's just some of the things. And then as Trish talked about, it can be hot. All right, let's walk into this. Some of the trips, some of the things that you can expect are accommodations. The Golden Tulip, Accra, or Kumasi, or something comparable, Coconut Grove Hotel, Cape Coast. And then you'll also have the opportunity to, like if you're flying with us out of Dulles, because some people are coming from different places. We have the round trip fare in our pricing, and you can see this when you go, and you can look through everything to kind of see what's available. But if you're doing your own flight, I encourage you to use points. I really do. You want to arrive on day one. So arrive on day one, meaning that is, and when I say that, if let's say, for example, if the tour is on January 1st, meaning if you see where it says January 1st through January 10th, you want to arrive on January 2nd, because everyone is leaving or departing on the 1st, and then they're arriving on that next day. It's an overnight flight. So you want to arrive on that the day of everyone else's arrival. We'll cover all of that. We'll make sure that you're clear about that. You don't have to worry about ground transportation. We're doing that. Hotel accommodations. We're doing that. Admission to all activities, and you get free breakfast with all of the hotels that we're staying at. Again, just to recap, these are the different places that we're going to, and you can see those. And of course, all of this is on that page. All of it's on the page. Can you travel with your family? Absolutely. These are more questions. But if price is a concern, many travel solo first and then return with the family at a later date. I've heard people say, well, my wife doesn't want to go. Well, my wife didn't want to go. But guess what? She was cool with me going, so I went. So now she didn't, if there's no issue and the other spouse doesn't care, then hey, you might need to go for yourself. And now look at what it's turned into. Had I not gone because she didn't want to go, or her opinion, then it would have, all of the 35 people that have gone already would have missed out on that experience of their life. What is the maximum group size? 40 to 45. Do we offer custom tours? And the reason why we do 40 to 45, because we don't want the group size to be too large. Now, if you have a custom group and you want to take more people, that's fine. We can work that out. But what we try to do is to keep it a comfortable size. 40 to 45 is a nice size. But again, obviously we will do more. And we do have an affiliate program for those who are interested. You can go to our website, MaximumImpactTravel.com, and learn more about the affiliate program. Do you offer custom tours? Yes, we do. So if you have a specific date, then we can definitely work towards that. Also, are the trips suitable for children? Yes, you saw pictures of Marcus, you saw the interviews. They are suitable for children. This is just some of what we encourage you to bring that's not covered in your trip fee. And travel insurance, we'll cover all of that. Once you sign up, you can take advantage of it. We'll walk you through the entire process. The flight preparations, if you're flying out of Dulles, it's about a 10-hour flight across the Atlantic right there into Accra, and you get 2 meals on the flight. Currently, their
their standards or their baggage allowances are two checked in and one carry on, and make sure you always check your weight. So that's to let you know. Now, I do recommend people travel light. And so, in other words, don't travel like you're going for, like 6 months. But we'll talk about that in the training. If you want to handle your own flight arrangements, you can do so. That's not a problem. And the age of children, use your discretion. You know your child, and you can use your discretion. This electric travel adapter is something you want to make sure that you take with you. That is important to have with you on the journey. Make sure you take the travel adapter. And this is just letting you know, I'm giving you all of this so that you understand how serious we are about this, and we make sure that you're ready to go on this trip. The next thing is this. Payment plans. Yes, payment plans, we do have them. Prices will vary based on the time of year. It's supply and demand. December is the most popular month of the year for Ghana, so the prices are going to be increased over that time frame. Booking earlier will allow for the best rates. This is why I encourage you to go ahead and at least secure your space now so that you know that your rate is locked in. If you wait 2-3 months, then the rate may change. So that's why I encourage you to go ahead and do it now and secure it with your deposit and then navigate it as you're going through there. It's a very easy process. We walk you through the process. The available packages, here we go. We have double occupancy with airfare. So that means if you are looking to have a double occupancy and you want to fly with us, we handle your airfare. That's available to you. Then you have single occupancy with airfare. And so that is available as well. The prices are on that page that we just went through, bit.ly gateway to Africa. Let's say you want to handle your own airfare. Those prices are available, and it just includes the double occupancy. And then you have no airfare, single occupancy. We have quad rates available. Again, we try to make this as streamlined as possible for you to be able to do this. That is why it's important. And this is why we encourage you to travel with us, because we make it as streamlined as possible. Our response time is quick. We want to make sure that we get to your questions. And if for some reason, if you email us and if you don't hear something, check that spam folder to make sure it didn't go into your spam folder. But we are serious about responding quickly to your questions, because we understand that this is that's the standard that we have here at Maximum Impact Travel. Code of conduct, knowing the culture. Ghana is not the USA. So that's important. We're looking for a mature crowd. We're not looking for the turn up ratchet crowd. So we're looking for folks who are really wanting to go over there and learn and grow, have a great time, experience the nightlife, experience the culture, and represent those of us who are part of the American African diaspora properly. So we're not going over there giving us a bad name and being able to forge relationships that can last a lifetime. Mutual respect for everyone. On the tour, we created a family bond to the point where we still meet up after the trip. That's how we do it. So we have that type of bond with our tours where we're like, we establish lifelong friendships. And who knows, we're working on a safari tour. We're working on going to Salvador, Brazil, and Colombia, and South America. So these are all a part of it. And once people know that someone really cares and can lead them through the process, that's how we stay connected. Avoiding unwanted advances, intoxication, or drug use. Please be mindful. Some of these countries have different laws, so you might not be able to go and get drunk and use certain drugs. Like in Dubai, if you get caught smoking a joint, that's 4 years of your life in prison, no questions asked. So you just want to be mindful of it and be thinking ahead. And of course, criminal behavior, you want to avoid that also, because guess who's not coming to bail anybody out of jail? Me. Final thoughts. It was one of the best investments I ever made. Unforgettable experiences. Now I'm looking to do business in Ghana and other parts of Africa. I'm actually looking to purchase a property in Ghana. That's right. Looking to purchase a property. And will I live there permanently? Probably not, because there's so much of Africa to explore. But I do want to be able to get in on what's happening in West Africa early. Just like DC was gentrified and they're doing it in Detroit now and Atlanta. I want to make sure that I'm able to get in and take advantage of the opportunities. That's what's happening. They're building up West Africa, and you want to be thinking about that also. And this is how we take these dollars back, use these American dollars, and make it a mutual benefit. All right. I'm glad I didn't allow fear to win and realize that anyone of African descent could benefit. I encouraged the youth to go. We had youth going. We had 3 young folks go, and now they're ambassadors for their friends to say, hey, it's not what these people are telling us. You get a chance to see the rural areas and some of the areas that appear to have challenges. See, we say they have challenges based on our American experience, but guess what? I didn't see hungry people because they had food everywhere. So they know how to live off of the land. They know how to do things that we couldn't even keep up with. So that's what it's a lesson on so many different levels. Businesses, I encourage you, you can sponsor youth. We're about to set up a fund where if you want to contribute towards a scholarship for one of our young folks to go, we'll have that available. We have future trips coming, so you can stay plugged in, sign up to become a part of our Maximum Impact Travel community. You can do that. We'll put you or add you to our mailing list. You can also follow us on social media at Maximum Impact Travel on Instagram, and you can follow our group, Maximum Impact Travel, on Facebook. And again, limited spaces, as you see, that we do have a limit on how many people we take. I do address the hesitations because a lot of times people are like, I want to go. And then it's this block. I don't know how I can go. I don't know. This is going to happen. What I had to do, I just had to do it. I had to stop thinking about it. I had to say, I'm going to Africa. And my life changed. Commit and get to work. And so the payments work. You have up to, depending on which payment schedule, many of them offer 12 payment plans. Now, depending on if we don't have 12 months, it'll maybe be twice, it'll double up in a month or something like that. That's why I said you want to go ahead and secure it sooner rather than later, because as we get closer, then the payments are not as, you're not able to, spread them out as much. So that's why it's important to go ahead and take care of it. And then also when it comes to price going up, it could definitely go up at any time because the airline prices change, especially if you're booking with us or booking on your own. That's why you want to go ahead and secure and get that taken care of. This is what I want you to do. We're going to send you the replay. So as you're watching this, we're going to send it back out to you and you can share it, you can review it. And we're going to be having more and more of these discussions because this is a part of this is my mission. This is what I'm doing, connecting the African diaspora back to the continent of Africa and other African diaspora destinations around the world. So we won't always just do Africa. Like I said, South America's in there, because once you discover who you are and who you're a descendant of for real, it gives you another level of confidence and knowledge, and you can refute this stuff. You can stop the negative narratives that make absolutely no sense, and you can put it into context. All right, so here's the deal. This is what you do. Bit.ly, Gateway to Africa, is where you can sign up. That is where you can go. You can watch those videos. You can learn more information. Please share that link. If you want information about becoming an affiliate, you can go to MaximumImpactTravel.com and you can scroll for the affiliate page. You can fill out the application. We can get you plugged in like that. And you can share that with your group. You'll see we have a very attractive affiliate plan that works well. I hope that you can join us on a trip. I'm looking forward to meeting you and just spending some time just really learning. Again, once you get in there, you'll know who I am by the time we get on the trip, because I do so much training and making sure that you're ready for it. But it's deeper than that for me. I hope that you have an enjoyable experience. I hope that you trust us with taking you to the continent of Africa. Even if you've been, I hope that you trust us and just know that we are serious about making it the best experience that we can possibly make for you. So I want to thank you for that.